What's up, I'm travel photographer Brendan Vanson of brendansadventures.com, and on this episode I'm going to show you how to do a drive lapse using a GoPro Hero 3. So in the past I've been a little bit reluctant to do some time-lapse stuff, and that's because I really only had one camera, the 60D, and I was worried about burning off its sensor as you can do with time-lapse photography. But now that I've got the 60, I'm going to be doing a lot more time-lapse on this show. There's going to be a new playlist called Time-lapse, and we're going to do lots of fun stuff, both with the 60D and with the GoPro Hero 3 Plus. This is the silver edition, which I picked up, and it's miles better than my GoPro Hero 2 was, especially when it comes to time-lapse. And so on this episode, what I'm going to do is show you how to do a drive lapse, which is exactly as it sounds. It's a time lapse driving. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the GoPro Hero 3 here and we're going to set it up on the roof of the car. Now this will also work with any of the GoPro Heroes. The GoPro Hero 2 or 4 will also do this exact same thing. So let's get this set up. So what we have here is a GoPro attachment. This is the suction cup, and you don't need to be risky like this and put it on the outside of your car. You can also stick it to the inside of the car upside down. Now the problem with that is you get more glare off of the windshield. So we're gonna put it right up here behind our sunroof, and I'm gonna just Kleenex wipe it off so I make sure that there's nothing dirty on top of the car that will reduce our suction capability. And then I'm just gonna suction this right onto the roof with the GoPro on it. So now that I've got the suction cup hooked up to the car and the GoPro's on the roof, I'm going to open up the app. And that's one of the biggest advancements, the biggest improvements in the GoPro Hero 3 and 4 to the 2, is that I can now see what my camera is seeing through my smartphone, so I can make sure I've got it set up perfectly and proper. The other thing I can do is I can make all the adjustments to my time-lapse in my phone rather than bouncing through those really awkward 2 keys that you get on the GoPros. So I think we've got it set up. So we're going to set up the GoPro to take 1 frame every 5 seconds, and I really hope that's smooth enough. If you want really smooth time-lapse, you have to go as quick as possible. But to really improve the time-lapse effect, to make everything seem like squeezed into a shorter period of time, you need more distance in between your exposures. So we're going to do 1 every 5 seconds. You could probably go 1 every 10 seconds, although it might get a little bit choppy. 1 every 2 seconds would be really smooth, but we've got like a 2-hour drive, so 1 every 5 seconds makes a lot of sense for us. So now that it's set up, you just hit play and we're on the road. Let's do it. So I'm back in the digital darkroom, and as I promised, I'm going to walk you through the process of turning the images that I took on the GoPro Hero 3 Plus Silver into an edited drive lapse, time lapse that's completely done and sweet. So let me start by saying that I'm going to be skipping a step. Usually the process involves photo editing as well. So usually I'll import the photos onto my computer, go into Lightroom, and then I'll edit them all. And by edit them all, what I do is I just do 1 batch edit on all of the images. There's lots of YouTube videos on how to do that in Lightroom. So I'm not going to take it through it on this video because it's a little bit time consuming, and I'm sure you're all smart enough to figure that side of things out. So I'm going to do this time lapse basically directly out of the camera. I know a lot of you don't want to do that really time consuming edit. I'm the type of guy that doesn't want to do that really time consuming edit as well. So this is the most streamlined way of doing it. And it starts just by importing your images to your computer. So let's get into the computer and I'll show you over there. So I've imported the photos into an album, into a folder on my computer called Drivelapse. And you can see these are all the images here. It says there's 1,149. So if we're thinking 30 frames per second video, that's a lot of seconds worth of video, which is cool because that's what we want. It allows you a little bit of leeway, and maybe you can section it into multiple parts. So I've got all the images here, the 1,149 in this folder. Now what I'm going to do is I'm opening Adobe Premiere Elements Editor, and I believe the process is exactly the same if you were to use Adobe Elements or Adobe Premiere rather than the Elements version, which is a lighter version and cheaper. But this is the program I like to use, and it's super easy to do it this way. So let's go into this. What we're going to do is we're just going to click Add Media, open Files and Folders, and then we're going to go into that album. So you see Drivelapse, that's the folder. We're going to click on the first image. Now, if we were to just click on this image and hit open, it's just going to open one single image. What we want to do is click down here, numbered stills. And what this is going to do is it's going to turn this into a film clip by essentially making every single one of these photos one frame in a 24 frames per second frame rate. So now all we have to do is hit open and wait for Adobe to figure it out, which really doesn't take that long. And then we should have like a 15-second film clip, 38-second film clip here. And we can just draw that into our timeline. And essentially, if I was to go to export right now, if I was to export this as a file right now, it would be done and dusted. But you obviously have some things you want to do to clean things up. So what I like to do is, first of all, I want to crop it. So you see how it's square? Because you're taking photos on the GoPro, they take kind of square images rather than 1080p video images. So we're going to go like this and bring it all the way to the edge. And then I want the car hood a little bit more in the frame. You see how the car hood's right there? I like that aspect of the Drivelapse, so I'm going to go like that. And then I also want to do some editing, so I'm going to go right into the middle of the video here. And I'm going to edit the entire video the same way so there's not any bumping of exposures. So if we go into the middle of the image and we go to adjust, I can do things like adjust the lighting. I see it's a little bit dark. So I'm going to adjust the lighting just by bringing up the exposure a little bit more, nice and bright. I want it to be a little bit more colorful as well. And that's the wrong menu. Color here. And we're going to increase the vibrance just a little bit. I also want to do some minor adjustments to the temperature because it always tends to come out a little bit blue. Something like that, I think. Whoa, that's too much. Okay, maybe not. We'll leave it as it was. So yeah, very simple stuff. And you can go through just by clicking in different sections to see if the exposure and the color and everything looks good. And to me, that looks really cool. Just these images from driving from, we went from basically Sugarloaf Key all the way to Key Largo. So it was a fairly significant drive. And then the other thing I want to do, and I always do on time lapses, especially drive lapses, is add stabilization, because cars are bumpy, roads are bumpy, and to do that, we're going to go to FX and then slide down on this menu up here to Video Stabilizer. And for a video that's not super bumpy like this, it should only need one pass, and I can just drag and drop that there. And essentially, it's just going to go through all the images and make sure everything's lined up so that there's no bumps and bruises to it. And then I'm going to hit render so I can show you a preview right now. And the rendering will take some time because there's just so many images, and really it's going to go through every single image and render a preview for us. So as it's rendering, let me talk to you a little bit about the GoPro Hero 3 Plus, which I've been really pleased with in comparison to my Hero 2. It's smaller, it's lighter, it has the Wi-Fi capabilities, which I found really useful because the GoPro Hero 2, I needed to put an LCD on the back to see what I was doing, whereas this one I can just throw on the app onto an Android or Apple phone and I've got it there, which is awesome, especially for time-lapse, because you don't want to shoot 1,000 images and then realize that your horizon was weird or you were shooting straight into the ground or something like that. So that's really helpful. The thing that I really don't like about the Hero 3, well, there's two things really, and it all comes to audio. One, they always put the audio right on the top of the GoPro, and that leaves it really susceptible to wind noise. So when I'm sitting and shooting, like doing some selfie video, the wind's busting over the top and it creates like crackling sound, and that's not a good thing. The audio quality in general is way better than the Hero 2, but that crackling sound is really annoying. The other thing is there's no external mic jack So if I wanted to get around that bad audio from the wind, I can't plug in a lapel mic or something like that, which is a bit of a pain. But from a time-lapse perspective, from like a action cam perspective, I'm incredibly happy with the quality that this thing has pumped out in the couple weeks that I've had it now. And I'm sure that it's going to get a lot of use from me. So back to the Drivelapse talk. This is also the suction cup that I was shooting the whole Drivelapse on. So basically you've got this suction cup here, and what you do is you push it down onto your surface as hard as you can, and then this lever locks it in, and so it's not going to move. You can see that it's tight on there, and that's not even a clean surface, and it's a wood surface. It's not moving. From what I'm told, the GoPro suction cup is strong up to about 150 miles an hour. So I think the fastest we went was about 50 miles an hour, maybe 65 when we were passing some people. So it's definitely going to be sturdy, it's durable, and it's really cool. So you can definitely trust that. If you don't trust it, you can always hook it upside down inside your car through the window. And one of the other good features about the Hero 3 Plus is that it has the option of shooting upside down. So when you shoot upside down, it's automatically going to twist your images right side up, so you don't have to do that in post-processing, which is really cool in my opinion. Anyways, let's get back to the render and see how that's going. Okay, so the rendering is complete now, and we should have a preview of what the video will look like. So I'm just going to click on it quick. This is my first time seeing it, the same as you. I haven't run this through the process as of yet either, because I thought I would share the moment with you guys. How nice am I? Anyways, let's just click play and we'll be able to see a rendering, hopefully. And I can tell right away it's smooth. It's actually much smoother than I thought it would be. In terms of bouncing around side to side, it's pretty flat. I'm pretty impressed with that. And on the cool stretches, on the long stretches, it looks really good. In town where there's a lot of stopping, it's a little bit choppy. And that probably comes down to the fact that I shot every 5 seconds. If I would have shot every 2 seconds, it would be slower. You would see more. But again, if I shoot 2 seconds, it would have doubled my my amount of photos. It would have more than doubled my amount of photos. So right now I have 1,142 photos, which equates to 38 seconds worth of video footage. If I would have shot every 2 seconds, I would have got smoother footage. Obviously, I would have got more footage over that same amount of time. So it probably would have been around 3,000 photos, if I'm guessing, which would have been about 80 seconds worth of footage. So in my opinion, 5 seconds works. Maybe not so much on this Florida Keys drive because there is so much stopping and starting. But if you were doing a long cross-country trip on a fairly open highway, 5 seconds seems like the way to go. If you're driving around cities, maybe 1 or 2 seconds. And if you're doing shorter drives, maybe like an hour-long drive, then every 2 seconds seems like the right time for me. Personally, I'm really happy with how this has turned out right here. And so I'm going to just export it as it is. So to do that in Photoshop Elements Premiere is just, you go to Publish and Share, you hit Computer or Mobile Phone. If you want to share it on your mobile phone, for example, you can export it there. I'm going to export it to my folder for the photography channel, and I'm going to call it Drivelapse Footage, and hit Save. And then it's going to take a couple minutes to export, and I'll have the live footage to share with you. And I guess I'll share it with you right now as I give you my classic outro. That's it for this show. That's it for the Florida Keys. We've had an awesome time down in South Florida. The Keys and the Everglades were awesome. And the US road trip is now continuing across country. We're heading to Utah next, and New Mexico perhaps, Colorado maybe even, and then we're going to be shooting some cool stuff like Monument Valley, like Antelope Canyon hopefully, and I don't even know what else. Moab Arches National Park. Lots of cool stuff coming up, I think, I hope. So I hope you stay with me. I hope you subscribe to the channel, and I hope you've been enjoying this US road trip. There's lots of fun still to come before I head down to South America for the travel photography workshop in Peru, which there's still a couple spaces open for you. If you want them, stay tuned. I'll catch you next time. Peace.